First, I want to make sure that we avoid talking about interpersonal drama and personalities. Please, this is a little bit targeted about Life Coach, who is a pretty important figure in the community. But that was also a kind of a uniquely toxic atmosphere and time.
I'm
So I'd
gonna
like to try to skirt around that a little bit as far as the interpersonal drama that was between him and. Oh yeah.
sorry, I had that part maybe going out to my stream. You saying that, so I don't know. But that's fine.
No, this is okay. This is
Okay.
okay. This is okay. This is okay. This is okay. Because we don't have any ill will. It was just that has a tendency to turn into a drama conversation instead of a Spire conversation. That's all I'm asking. So this is kind of about Spire One and the nostalgia. So we want to talk about some Spire history, some classic milestones, and like inflection points as the development of the meta, player growth, historical figures in the scene. Um, we'd like you to talk about things like your own growth and how you got into Spire, what made you stick with it, what was special about the original game, how your opinions grew and shifted on cards and relics and bosses, etc. I think with that as a prompt, like you guys can go for 90 minutes, no problem. In the end, I think it would be cool if you kind of did a contrast from Spire 1 to what Spire 2, um, like what you hoped for Spire 2 and what the current reality of it is, and whether you think it will provide that same longevity or if you'll kind of look back to the first game for that satisfying nostalgic challenge. I'm not asking you to stick to these topics or anything. We have 90 minutes of time to fill, and you're kind of just on your own. Do what you feel best about. But just in case, like you felt stuck, I wanted to have those things available to think about. And with that, are there any questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'm sorry if I feel overbearing here, but I want to release you to the wild and let you get going. So I'm going to unmute you, and we're going to transition the Pride Within stream, and so you'll be ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2. And you're good.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Hello.
What is up, everybody? How you guys doing?
I'm
This
doing good.
is
I'm doing
this is
good.
pretty cool. This is my first time being actually talking to any of y'all. Like, actually, in like a call.
Yeah, you're more of like an old school, like Spire 1 player, like in terms of
Some
like
would
the
call me
community people you were
an old
interacting.
man, an ancient
You're
soul.
so old. You quit before I started the game. Like that's kind of
I'm
crazy. You're like my
I'm
granddad.
unk.
True for
I'm
me as
unk.
well. You were done
Yeah,
before I ever even played Spire 1.
that's right.
I think
But
when I started, you already stopped as well.
Wait,
yeah,
how
that
old
sounds
is
right.
Blur? What the hell?
I'm exactly. I'm like an ancient gamer deity, you know, who comes back like an eldritch horror. Um, but I was watching you guys all throughout. Like I still followed Spire. I actually kept playing casually after I stopped streaming it. And dude, people got so good. Like that's the main thing I got out of it. I was like, oh my god, I was so bad. I was like a baby, and I thought I was so good. And so it was really fun just seeing people get better at the game.
Yeah, like, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. There's a lot of
As tech
evolution
say,
in the
yeah.
players. Even in the final year, there was like a lot of evolution. I feel like we got a lot better at the game just in that last year, compared to every year before that. And it was still just continuing. It would have kept going if we would have kept playing Spire 1.
Spire 1 is dead now, though.
Yeah, it's dead.
Have any of
Spire
you
1?
played Spire 1 since Spire 2 came? I haven't even opened the game.
I opened it to look for the seeds.
Oh,
It is
I opened it
really slow
on
compared
stream
to Spire
once
2. It's
to see the
crazy.
Gremlin knob. Like, I just wanted to see the knob one last time. So I opened the game.
Oh. Well, you can see him every time you go to Act 2 now. He's right there. He just became a triangle shape. He slipped in a new outfit. But yeah, I mean, I haven't played Spire 1 since. I still feel though, like, even though I felt like I played a ton of Spire 1, um, I know hours wise, I'm actually fairly low relative to people. I think I had sub 5K. Um, so and all mine was like within like a 2 year span of when I was really active. But there was a whole like another like 4 years after that where the game kept being like competitively alive and quite active. And I was really surprised to see actually that in many ways, like most games don't last and have this type of community. Like once Spire 2 came out, it was all of the growth that happened during Spire 1 that really laid the seeds for Spire 2 to explode. And I still don't think we've reached the mountaintop on that because we're not even past early access yet. The full release isn't there. So it's wild to see how much it's grown.
Says the guy who literally came from Melee, like the premium example of that.
It's wild to see how much it's grown. Yeah.
Good games keep people around. Like they'll just keep playing them as long as the game's good. Spire 1's a very
Exactly.
good game.
So sick. So what I'm curious for each of you. What drew you guys into playing Spire? Like, what was the genesis for starting? Like, how'd you guys get hooked?
So I already told the story like, a lot of times on my channel, but I was playing Hades around 2020, and then I was watching the best speedrunner of the time for Hades, and he just in one stream he just swapped over to play 820 Spire. I have never seen Spire before. Actually, it doesn't like I saw Spire briefly in the Steam store like a year ago, but I thought it looked ugly, so I just clicked next. But yeah, during the stream, I saw maybe like 5 minutes of gameplay, and I immediately knew I want to play the game. So just started.
I was watching and speedrunning Hades, and I was watching a Hades streamer speedrun Hades, and
Hades.
he just mentioned Slay the Spire. He didn't actually switch over to it. He mentioned Slay the Spire, and just on his recommendation, I decided to try it out. So similar to the reason XecnaR started playing the game.
Is everyone Hades player? I was just watching it's like a variety strategy YouTuber, and he played Spire, and I don't know, the game looked kind of fun, I guess. And then I didn't play it. But then a few years later, I watched another strategy YouTuber who did play it, and then I was like, wow, this game really does look fun. And then I got the game, and then I played it for
What
many
I
hours, like
what I
20
find
hours.
fascinating is that when I talk to the people who are like the most into Spire, they're almost never directly from like card games. Like it's not like, oh, I was a Magic player and then of course I transitioned to just try this thing. It's very commonly I came from like fighting games or I came from like roguelikes or just I was just an indie gamer and then this one just stuck with me. It's not like a direct one-to-one I'm a card game guy and I'm going to play the card game now. It's not as common like that. I don't know why that is.
It's kind of insane actually that I play Spire, because before Spire, any game I play is like a lot of key presses. Like I played
Mhm.
Tetris before this for like a billion hours, and Spire is like the opposite. I just click a card and I stare at the screen.
Yeah.
The
That was
game's just
part of the
really good.
appeal of Spire to me too, actually, is that I play a lot of high APM games, and that's like what I've always done. Shockingly, never been really good at them. I think I've always liked things I'm bad at. It's more fun to lose in games and just to be challenged. And Spire was just like the way of still being competitive. It's like when old people like they were athletes when they were younger, and then they start becoming golfers when they get older. That was what Spire was to me. I was like, you know what? I might not have the reaction times I had when I was younger, but I could still like be competitive, have that juice, do something for like improvement in my gaming. And even when I wasn't really looking for it, because I would just play it like in any other indie game. Um, I felt like I ended up finding it because there's all that depth.
Yeah, I got into it from Hades, but I'm originally from Smash as well. Like,
You're from Smash,
yeah, I'm from Smash.
bro.
My entire
What?
childhood is just like watching Melee tournaments and like, yeah, I'm a Smasher like from my youth.
No
Moved
way.
moved into
Who's your favorite player?
my favorite player, like Melee player.
Yeah, why not?
I probably like in terms of like how they play the game, probably like Leffen or Mango would be my favorite player.
Okay, you're a spacey guy. Okay, I could see that. Uh, didn't want to say the Crimson Blur. I see.
Not
You
the
know,
Crimson Blur.
that wasn't
Going by my math
acceptable.
now.
that wasn't that was acceptable
But
answer.
I was actually watching tournaments like with you. It was kind of a funny thing when I found out that you were a Spire player because I got into Spire completely disconnected from you. But like
Mm.
I had been watching Melee tournaments ever since I was a kid. So it was like when Papa, I was like watching a Papa stream and he was like, or maybe it was like
Mm.
a Jorps video or something, and he mentioned the Crimson Blur, first player to ever get a 10 streak. I was like, wait, what? There's no way. I was like, there's actually no way.
That's
I did not
funny.
believe it.
Yeah, it's really fun to see the crossover, especially from Smash. That happened obviously it- naturally over time, but I mean, my favorite era of Spire One, the one that of course I think about is was when I was streaming actively, and um, that was like when the first seeds of that this game can be like taken seriously was really being sown. Um, and it took a while. Like there was so much discussion about just that. Like, should you play it seriously? Should you care? And I like part of the conversation was always just like showing it to people. And now it seems like a relatively obvious thing. I don't think that is as much of a conversation topic. I don't see it as much. And there's the conventions around it, whether it's win streaks or win rate over 100, like things that have happened over time that people have accepted, um, to care about the strategy of the game. And but all methods are acceptable. But I think there are certain types of people who, if they're going to play a game for a lot of hours, they want to like engage with the strategy and engage with the actual game of the game. And I'm one of those type of people, and it's cool to have a community to like talk about that, talk about that side of the game.
It's the
Pretty,
tryharding.
I think it's pretty crazy that Spire just has like so many dedicated followers. You know? Like
Mhm.
normally when you stream on Twitch and you're a new streamer, you get like 0 viewers, like ever. But you just stream Spire, you put A20 in your title, and immediately you just get like 10 viewers. Immediately, you don't even need to do anything else. Pretty cool.
I remember when I
Yeah.
first
Go
started
ahead.
streaming Spire on A20. I think my first or like one of my very first viewers had to be XecnaR. Like just the people who are absolutely addicted to A20 because like in my second stream ever I got raided by XecnaR. Like it was I didn't even have a mic set up at that point, but like just kind of proves the point of you stream on A20 and the people will watch, the people who just like are obsessed with the game.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
a decent amount of people that have that kind of dedication to the highest difficulty in Spire 1. Well, now it's dead, but it wasn't dead for a long time.
Yeah. I feel like there is there's like a degree with where there is that sort of competition. But because it is a single player game and it is what it is, I feel like some sort of kinship that we're all like kind of against the Spire together. And when I see someone do like a crazy run and or play really well or push the game to like an extreme level, um, I don't know. It brings me a lot of genuine joy, and I think it's really fun. Um, Especially like when you're dead wrong. There's so many things where I look back, I was like, how did I not see that? Like, am I what's going on? One of the most notable examples, and Zach, you are probably who I'd credit for this one, is that arguably the best Spire 1 card in the game, maybe or up there at least. Alchemize, during my era, no one thought that card was good. Um, and looking back on it, that is hilarious. It's just comical. right? That no one was picking that card, and it just like makes me think about that, about like groupthink and how pervasive it can be. And even when I look at my like Spire 2 and how I think and how I try to approach it, at least now, I look at those learnings and be like, hey, just because there's a tier list, just because there's a thought process, like people can be literally F to A wrong, like that level of wrong. It's possible. Even the people who are quote unquote the best or most well regarded that we've seen. And that's the kind of evolution that I think Spire 1 really saw. It was pretty drastic, some of the changes in gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. Partially, I think it's because of maybe one of the biggest factors. I think could be like your expectation, after run. Because when you are maybe expecting that you could, in theory, win around 60%, you would play a lot differently from when you are expecting to win at 90.
Mhm.
Suddenly
Yeah,
you do,
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, you take like a
That
lot
makes a
of
lot of
risk.
sense to me. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think the old way I used to play, I assumed that we had to do a lot more risk. Literally just watching you guys be like, hey, you don't have to take that risk over and over again and be like, just rest and take one less elite or like be more chill. And I was like, oh, it's actually, it's not that hard. Like it's not like the you're kind of pushing for power and for win rate when you don't need to, when it's actually just you could be a little more chill and more conservative. um and during the early eras, people felt like you needed some extreme of power to get through the game. And that was, it proved to be that you can get along more with less and taking less risks, and that pushed win rates way up.
Yeah, I think expectations are very important. Like, it's a funny story. When I got into Spire 1 for the first time, I started watching like Jorbs' YouTube videos and Twitch channel, and like he had done like a 10 streak at some point, rotating, and I thought he was just like a normal player. Like I didn't even understand that there was like this culture of top players in the Spire community, and that he was one of them. I was just like watching someone play Spire, and I was like, okay, he knows what he's doing. I'm just gonna learn from this. So when I went onto the Slay the Spire Reddit for the first time and saw people have like Eternal 1 plus Heartbreaker, I thought people with Eternal 1 probably were people with 10 streaks in the
I see.
in the Slay the Spire Reddit. So my expectations going into Spire when I was first playing A20 Heart was that a 10 streak was something that basically everyone does at some point. I was just trying to do that with like no knowledge at all about like how impressive an accomplishment that's considered to be. Just learning on my own and being like, this is my expectation, is that this is a thing everyone's supposed to do. And then eventually I do it, and then I learn it's like something barely anyone ever does. It's kind of a funny thing. Expectations matter a lot for like how you learn and games like this.
Yeah. I I think the back and forth also. I mean, the one thing I will say that this early access period is missing, um relative to like the older era of what was going on, is this time it feels a little bit more self-motivated, because again, we're getting a patch every 2 weeks, and though we have like the larger player base and everything else, it's like not doesn't have the same, we're not like all like comparing win rates and win streaks or anything like that. Like it would be kind of ridiculous to do so. But at least what was really hype for me, especially when me and George were going back and forth, was I kind of woke up every day like with like it was more devastating to me when I lost a streak in that way, because I was like, damn it, I was like, if I'm at like a high enough number, you almost have it. And there's a exhilarating element to being on a streak, particularly. I think win rate is obviously better for measuring skill, um, but the streak aspect was what addicted me to it. Where you have, it's like any other like 8-bit game or something, or like a hard game, right? Like you are now all the way, and you're on your last continue in like a NES game, and Inspire, like sometimes it's like 10 hours of work, and in Watcher streaks, it's like a month of work that is on the line, and you have to keep your mental like through it all. And any one decision can mean instant death. Any one slip can be instant death. And I don't know of a lot of games that are like formatted that way. right? There are probably others. I think chess maybe like has really long tournaments in that way. But it's I think until someone does it, they don't understand how strenuous that can be. Like that's a specific type of competitive skill that is quite hard.
I was just kind of chilling when I was doing this, so I don't actually relate to anything you said.
Oh,
Just
really?
playing the game. If the
You
streak
were chilling
happens,
the
I'm like,
whole
"Wow, that's
time.
pretty cool."
Dude, okay, well
If it doesn't, it's like, "I'll just get it later, it's fine."
you're just fucking Australian. What can I tell you, dude? I don't know. It's like you're just chilling. You got a whole different vibe to it. I have I don't know. Maybe it's not some crazy anxiety around it or anything, but it's just it gives me juice, gives me a little fire. Um, and it's I've raged a little bit. You know, when I make a mistake, terrible. Um, not I don't throw chairs, but you know I care. Uh, and but it's fun for me. It keeps me going.
I care if I play badly, but it's like unrelated to the streak. I could be on 0 streak and I'm stupid and I just feel sad and stupid. It'll be the same as if
Um,
I'm on whatever streak. I think
so
everyone who watch gets upset at themselves when they're stupid.
so one thing that I can't really quantify for myself, maybe it's just a I've gotten older thing, is sometimes it feels like when I make a misplay in Spire 2, I feel worse than I ever felt in Spire 1. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's because the game's overall easier or something, but I just like feel more stupid than I used to feel. Sometimes I would just throw up my hands when I lost in Spire 1. I was like, ah, well, good try. Here it's like, oh my God, I'm a baboon. What happened?
It's
It's
probably
probably the
expectations.
Yeah, it's
expectations
probably
thing,
just
right?
about
If you
expectations.
Expectations.
expect to win so much.
Yeah.
If your
Like
expectation was like, I don't know, 50%, then you won't feel like
your
this at
starting point
all.
in Slay the Spire 1 was just a lot lower, like for the win
Yeah.
rate, and now your expectations are a lot higher, so losing feels worse.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't really have that experience at all. Like when I play the game, I'm not really worried about being dumb and making mistakes. Like I've always been very streak oriented as a player. Like I just
Mm.
go for the streaks, play lots of runs. Don't beat myself up too much about it, because if I beat myself too much about like being stupid, like Opum does, you know, I've seen him do on stream.
It's how I
I would
improve,
just
bro. I need
I would
this.
just mentally fall apart. Like the mentality of streaks is the most important aspect. Like just staying mentally, like keeping yourself mentally in check. It's everything, and
Mhm.
mentally I'll fall apart if I beat myself up too much. So I can't do that.
If I don't beat myself up, I'll never improve. Like I need to remind myself how bad I am. Like you could be so much better. I need it. I don't know. Maybe it sounds bad on the stream, but if I say that, I'm like, damn, you're kind of dumb, dude. Don't do that. And then I'll remember, damn, I was stupid. And then I'll repeat it, but I'll repeat it less often. So it's like improvement, you know.
I think it's really hard to measure your own improvement in Spire, because you don't know if you're going to see that situation again, and so you're like, "Am I really going to be dumb again in that situation?" And you're not really sure, right? And presumably you can measure it through win rates and stuff. But often, sometimes the stuff that gets me better is like I'm not even playing the game, whatever. Somehow, like lightning strikes me, and I'm like, I should pick pull from below more or something like that, you know? And it's like, what am I squeeze? Wait, that kills Aeon Glass or something. Like any thought like that just hits my head, and all of a sudden I try it. Sometimes I feel like it's not actually from playing the game. Um, it's like the playing the game happens, and then somewhere in the background, like the actual like learnings and meta strategies like happen. Is that XecnaR? Is that have you ever had that? Am I crazy? Am I a crazy person?
I mean, most of my improvement comes from outside the game, I think. I just like
Mm.
theory craft a lot and then I just test all my theories. I play a lot. But I always play to like test what I already thought about before. I don't really try much to see random things, you know. I play with intent.
Do you have examples of that for Spire One?
Yeah, I try so many different macro ideas for Ironclad in Act 1, for example, like the eventually I try the roughly similar idea multiple times, but it never worked out, which ended up being like the actual idea at the end that you just skip every cut. But I skip every card, and then Act 1 went well as I thought, but then I die in Act 2, so I try again, and I still die in Act 2, and then I just thought it was bad. But so I try a different idea. I played, I pick all the strength cards, I pick Heavy Blade, speculatively. And then it still doesn't really win the most difficult run, so I just keep going. But eventually I landed on the final like ironclad strategy. That is, you can just actually just skip every card, but you open different outs. It's just a lot of theory crafting.
Yeah. How did you come up with the idea of doing like the skip every? Because skip every card wouldn't have been a thought that goes through my head. In Spire 1, like how did that even enter you? Was it just you were noticing a trend somehow, or
Yeah, I'm just looking at the runs where I die, and I start thinking like backwards. I do like reverse engineering for most of my problems. Like in Spire, in every other game, I look at how I die and I think, okay, how did this happen? Because it's always like the cause is always very early on. It's not like you make one random mistake at the end. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just play the wrong kind of hard fight and you die instantly. But usually the cause is like way before that. So I just try to look for the root of everything.
yeah, I think that it's like VOD review, right? Like you rewatch yourself and you figure out where did it go wrong, and you try to iterate on that and iterate on that. I think Opum, I heard you once say when telling to viewers is like you should just assume everyone's winnable, and like go off that assumption and like basically work backwards of what could you have done differently. Sometimes your skill isn't high enough to be able to tell like if there is a run that's like an extraordinarily hard seed, it might be a little bit beyond your skill level to see why you lost that. But most of the time, on average, you can see like the reason behind most runs, and then once you move that skill level up, even those hard seeds will become approachable. We'll be like, oh well, I actually could have done this. Like I would have never seen until I'd broken that previous barrier. At least that's what I've noticed. Do you guys agree?
I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
even if your conclusion's wrong, it's still like a path forward, right? Like you just have to like you think maybe this is where it went wrong, but you're completely wrong about it. But it's still like you're getting closer towards the whatever is actually correct. Who knows, whatever that is.
I think the thing that is the hardest to see is that you have to see the bigger picture, because a lot of like the most common analysis you can think of, right, is you just point out like one random thing that actually has nothing to do with the real cause. Are you saying, okay, here maybe I save a potion, I could do it. Oh, okay, here I play a wrong card. And these kind of things don't make you better, when you see them, but they don't matter. Like these kind of things don't matter at all. Because you could, if you play better earlier, you could put yourself in the situation where you can make like 10 different mistakes and you're still fine.
Yeah, I mean, I looking back on my early Spire 1 gameplay, some of the macro level stuff, like for example, I was too greedy with potions, right? Like I wouldn't be rotating my potion belt enough. That was like a very obvious one of like, dude, I need to be using more potions. I'm just sitting here saving potions, saving potions, and taking damage. And if I just did that better, that's probably like 20%. It was like some crazy number, right? And and then but at the time, I'd be looking at it, be like, oh, I should have used bash on turn 2, and that would have pushed in. But I was like, no, bro, if you just use potions all along, like this whole freaking run, you would have had the health to get like 3 more upgrades, or all this other stuff that has downstream effects on your whole gameplay, because it is a snowbally type game.
My experience is when I was learning Spire, it was less of thinking about like what went wrong in runs. Like I still do that, and I do that like now when I lose runs in Spire 2, like think about what I did wrong. But I kind of started off just sort of stealing from other players. So like when I was like first learning the game, like the first 2,000 hours, because my hours are actually pretty similar to yours, Blur. Like it was like around 5,000, like 4,000 to 5,000, where I Like in the first like couple thousand hours, I was just like developing frameworks and developing like flowcharts of how to play the game, and I was very bad. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing. But as soon as I was like exposed to the wider Spire community, I remember the first time I ever watched Captain Noobzor, and like if anybody knows who Captain Noobzor is, like you probably don't know who he is, Blair, but
Yeah, the goat.
he's a very very good player that didn't play very much. And I remember like when I was first watching him and like watching every run that he played, and I was just like every single time he played a run, I was just like patching up my my flowcharts and thinking about how he plays. And then of course watching XecnaR, watching like just a bunch of different really good players. Everyone has all these different ideas, and then I would just steal from them, and that's how I got good. Like that's actually just how I got. I could not be even close to as good as I was with the amount of hours that I had, just thinking about the game and thinking about how to like fix my gameplay by losing. Like I did most of that by just stealing other people's ideas because they had lost runs and already thought about it, and that's just tremendously useful in my experience.
This is also me. Thanks XecnaR. I've watched more hours of XecnaR than actually playing the game. It's like speedrunning improvement. He
That's not
does
true
the
for me,
homework and just copy it.
but yeah, I got a lot from XecnaR, of course. So.
Yeah, I've watched all of you guys a lot, honestly. And it's it's so fun to see what everyone else brings to the game and their styles and stuff. But it's funny to say styles in a game where often there's just a correct decision, right? Like it's not styles is almost a wrong word. But it's more like how their different brains approach the problems of Spire and like the new ideas they come up with that no one else sees. Um, that I find that pretty cool. But I think what's interesting for me is that I've had different phases. So like obviously at the very beginning phase, because I was in such of like early era of Spire stuff, I didn't really have a lot of people to copy. Like there, and then there more people started playing, and I like was able to like look at some other people, but I was already one of the better ones, so I there wasn't a lot of people to look at that whose gameplay was better than mine at the time, and it was actually when I stopped streaming and started looking at the newer generation, I was like, oh, these guys are cracked. Where I felt like I was more copying, and that was good, but there is a very hard limit to how good you can get with copying, which is really a fascinating thing about these sort of games because um, there you don't get any edge from it, right? You might copy what they do, and it will help a lot, but sometimes it's hard to tell. I mean, they think everyone is very open about explaining their ideas and stuff, but it's hard to tell really the depth to the same depth that they have. You know, even after they explain it, they've probably thought about it even more than that, and they just want to spend 30 minutes talking about it on stream. Um, and so, unless you develop that idea independently and have it to the same depth of thought and go through the process, and also, you know, so how are you going to get an edge if you're not doing anything new, right? Like you're not really going to improve your own gameplay. So, just the natural strategic element of the system mean that like being an independent thinker is OP. It's so strong. Um, and like I said, people can be very wrong.
Yeah, it sort of goes both ways. Like you need to be able to think about the game yourself, of course, and like work out
Mhm.
problems, especially when you lose a run, because there's something to be learned from every run you lose. Runs you win as well, but especially runs you lose, there's always something to learn. And if you just throw away the opportunity because you're just copying other people, that's going to be a lot of lost opportunities for like things you can learn about the game. Um, but I also find that like anytime anyone's like if other people are using their brain power to like think about things and then they're discussing those things and talking about their ideas, there's always something to learn from that as well. So like you just need to learn from all the different things that you can learn from, and you'll be the best player you possibly can be. Like just don't limit yourself to like only learning in one specific way. Like everyone else is also useful because they're also thinking about the game. Like I wouldn't be the player if I like I would just be nothing if I was just playing the game by myself. So I know that for sure. Um, like the stealing from
Yeah,
other players has been invaluable to getting better at the
right.
game.
I think one of
Um,
the biggest limiters in the limiting factor in improvement, right? Of course, motivation, and there's of course your own skill level, but the biggest one is still time. And watching other people, you're literally cheating time, you know, just good.
yeah. Um, I think especially when someone has like a quote unquote signature run. If someone is just playing a very box standard, let's say they're just doing normal defect frost, they play a normal defect run, right? Like it's a very box standard. It's not gonna You're not gonna learn as much as if they do truly a signature run. They're at 1 HP against the heart. They took the one tech card that got through them through one fight, then through another fight. Though, like, there's certain runs which teach you as much as 100, and it's kind of nice when you see someone go through like a really brilliant run, and sometimes it's when you least expect it. Like sometimes I know, it happens just because like sometimes I don't even know when I have a run that I'm like very proud of, I might have been playing bad like the rest of the day, or something like that. It just a seed falls on the lap and something cool happens. But yeah, I think that it's the unique stuff. It's the unique stuff that really jumps out. And Spire 1 was really good about that. Spire 1 was a game where pretty much every card was pickable, and ended up being, unique in its strategy in that way. Very weird that it ended up being so good, in many ways, and also tragic in my opinion that that the Watcher in particular didn't get finished. That one makes me sad, because otherwise I view it as basically a perfect game, as good as it gets, and I still view it as a 10 out of 10. Do you guys, when you think of Spire 1, like what are your overarching thoughts on like the game? Like as in like, do you see do you view it as like, obviously you guys love it, but what are the more nuanced opinions you have about the game, beyond that?
I think Spire 1 just got lucky. Like,
Mm,
it just got lucky because they added Act 4 to the game and then stopped patching it, and they just
yeah.
accidentally made the best design thing in the history of video games, like on accident. Um, like that's sort of the main thing with Spire 1. Like without Act 4, that game is nowhere even close to as good as what it is with Act 4, and
Mhm.
a lot of Act 4's design and what it is sort of unintentional. Like, at least based on what they've said, they just kind of released it. It was a bit rushed, and then they just didn't patch the game afterwards. Um, and not many people were like worried about it because it was an optional thing that you were able to do. So like A20 Heart just ended up being so good because the heart is a perfectly designed fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or about as close to it gets to perfect. It's funny you mentioned the thing about like just talk about what you were talking about earlier. It's funny that you mentioned that you like all cards being pickable and stuff, because like a lot of my defect, like the base Spire 1 defect that I had, was just when I heard someone say that you had a lot, like specifically Blur had a lot of success on defect, just skipping like half the card pool and only taking defrag and frost orbs. I was just like, I started there, like only
Yeah.
taking defrag and frost orbs, and then like all the future stuff was just after that. But like my baseline was just like this this like frost focus only type of thing. It ended up being very similar to that at the end, but
Mm.
um, that's just a strong thing in the card pool.
I think it's actually a good thing that, yeah, I also think it's a good thing they stopped patching Spy 1 when they did, because it actually gave players time to actually get like really, really good at the game. Because if they keep patching actively, I was thinking maybe they would see that, okay, this win rates are a little bit too low, and maybe this boss too strong, it's killing too many people, and now suddenly the enemies gets nerfed, the player gets stronger, all of that happens. If you don't have like literal years for the players to just break the game in different ways. That's cool.
Yeah, you want the starting. I think you want the starting win rate, and it was good for Spire 1 to have the starting win rate for the people playing at A20 Heart after that patch was like maybe 50% maximum. Like it was probably lower. I'm not sure. Like when the heart was released on A20, and like that just leaves all that space for improvement. Like the win rate there just like up to 90%, which is like approximately where we ended up for rotating. Just left all that space for people to improve over time. But if you start at 80%, or if you start like around there, then suddenly there's very little room for improvement in terms of like that top level. So I think it was really good for Spire 1 to have that. And if they like see people's win rates at the top level being at like 30, 40, 50% at the end of Spire 2's patch cycle, and they're like, oh, we need to make the game easier so that people are winning more. That leaves less space for improvement over the years after that, which is something I'm a bit afraid of, for sure, with Spire 2. Because Spire 1 got very lucky in that way.
Yeah, patch culture is a really interesting topic because obviously I come from competitive communities where I really like no patches because people can figure the problem out actually and have time. I've definitely had moments, even already inspired too, where I'm like, damn, I wish I had more time with this patch. You know, it's like I think we all felt the trepidation of Aeon Glass getting nerfed. It wasn't actually that bad. They barely nerfed Aeon. But I was like actually terrified. I was like, I'm really liking this. Please give me more time. And I know I'd only have 2 weeks, right? Which is part of the reason why sometimes I grind so much in the current Spire ecosystem because the game changing so fast, I won't have enough time with each version of it. Um, but at the same time, I um I do like new content. Like I do like new stuff, and I do think that there is a specific skill in especially in card games and strategy games to discovering the technique and discovering the metagame and figuring out a problem from scratch um, that I really enjoy. I mean, part of that early Spire 1 stuff that was so interesting is we really didn't know how good any card was. It wasn't just like a hey, we need to move up from like this niche to is this thing good in this spot? Like it was straight up like is Noxious Fumes good type of questions. Like that level of very early stuff or like, hey, how many elites should you take? How many should you take elites? Should you like any very like the most basic question thing you can think about Spire that seem ridiculous now were genuine questions then. And uh, they seem simple answers now, but at the time they weren't. And and in many ways, sometimes some of those answers that were simple answers got revised. But I do think the discovery process is really interesting and fun too. And um, yeah, I enjoy the discovery process a lot. And I personally, and I don't know if you guys will agree with this. I wouldn't mind Spire to always just be continually supported and have content, but maybe there are like done characters or done alternate acts. Like, like maybe Hive is just done at some point and it just stays as it is and we don't got to change it. But then they work on an alternate act and they give us more content. Or maybe they add another character that's completely different, but they're keeping Ironclad the same forever, at some point. Something like that. But I don't know if you guys agree with that or as a concept or as a general thing. It's just once you do get to especially the higher 90s, it's kind of like it's kind of tough to um, find those edges and find what to approach. At least for me, it's still fun, it's still great, but the new content adds a little bit more freshness for me.
Yeah, I
I'm
get
just
that. Like
enjoying the new content every
the,
Yeah,
2 weeks.
the content's great, and like the game changing makes the game somewhat like it gives this longevity to it. And I
yeah,
get wanting Spire to be like this like live service type thing where it just gets content over time. But just looking at Spire 1's patch cycles, like every patch of that game, basically up until the final patch, was making the game easier. And
yeah.
also the Watcher was developed on those last patches, which is like by far the most broken character in that game. So like there's a bit of like I don't want the game to be worse because like people haven't learned enough about the game to succeed at like against a lot of these challenges. So instead the problem is solved by the developers nerfing the enemies. So you never get to like experience that. Like it almost like cuts off what you could learn about the game because the patch came too early. That's the flip side of it, I guess.
Open. Would you like Spire to be continue updated, or do you want it to be done at some point?
I don't really have an opinion on this. I'm just happy to
Really,
play. Really,
really, you don't care? Okay, I
it
I
is
care enough for
fun
the
and
crack, bro.
it's good to stream. Which I've been enjoying streaming it. Then I'm just happy, not too fussed or anything, just chilling.
Yeah,
I get
open being happy. Very lazy.
Bro, what the hell? I'm always happy.
you. What the hell? Okay. I have a good topic. So we're doing a retrospective on Spire 1. I would like to know on a game design level, what are you guys' first? Let's do favorite things, like things that that were the best, most you think that were truly strokes of game design genius. That are, when you try to explain to someone why you love Spire One, like what are the things that stand out as the things? And then after this, I think it'd be cool to ask the opposite of, even though we all think it's like one of our favorite games of all time, what are the things that you think could have been better about the game, or things that could maybe be changed? So I guess first off, favorite things. Like, what were the things that really in terms of game design, pure gameplay, made Spire One so special?
It's the knob for sure.
Yeah.
It's just a knob. The knob forces you to actually take bad cards in order to play the game, which is exactly what you need to do. Because if you're just allowed to take all the good cards right from the start, you saw what happened in the early access release of Spy 2, right? Every run's the same. You just do the same thing every single time. Because you don't never need to touch the bad cards. It's so simple, but yeah, that just makes Spy 1 so good.
Yeah. And the actual fight, usually the mechanics of it are actually not that hard. But it's just its existence. The knob is so cool.
It just opens a lot of. If you can play many different runs, it's just more longevity, right? And that kind of thing just lets you do that. And then you get addicted because you want to play more runs and they're all different. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite thing, especially in comparison to Spire 2, is like the swinginess and variance and like most aspects of the game. Maybe not with boss relics. Like I didn't really like how swingy boss relics were because they were just too of a major thing, too big of a thing. If I had to list one of my least favorite things about Spire 1, it would be how swingy the boss relics can be. Like the comparison of like Pyramid and Busted Crown is just like too big of a gap, I guess. But with like how swingy a lot of things were, like with attack patterns, like the way you could get screwed over by Grim Leader attacking in a different order, the way heart 50/50s could matter, like all that variance kind of added up to actually quite a lot of skill expression, because avoiding that variance became something you had to be very powerful to be able to do. So you had to build very good decks, and like really well constructed decks and good like macro ideas were rewarded way more in Spire 1 than I feel like they are in Spire 2, and like they are in most games, just because of how swingy the variance can be. So you had to prepare for everything. Just introduce so many more problems, and I love that about Spire 1. It makes Spire 1 like feel so dynamic when you're playing the game. Like there's so many things that can happen, even though the game is so simple fundamentally. All that variance and the right amount of variance in the right places really adds to the complexity so much, and I love that about it.
Yeah, I'll give my answer for my favorite thing about Spire 1. I think so. I've played a ton of other card games just through time, and I think it taught me in a way that I didn't expect, that single player card games can have more strategic depth than multiplayer card games. I've done the spiel sometimes before, but like I didn't understand that. Like, so, in a regular card game, you draw 5 cards, and then your draw order is kind of like this massive RNG element that is like constantly ever present over your wins and your losses, right? Like it's just this thing that you have to deal with. In some games you draw 5 every turn, some games you just draw 1 every turn. Most actually PvP card games you're just drawing 1 every turn. So your draw order is just ridiculously important, right? But a PvE card game, a PvE card game which tries to take the strategy as seriously as a multiplayer one might do, has things like relics, has things like pathing, has things like HP, has things like you can have a 30-minute turn if you want. It's okay. You can't do that in a multiplayer card game. You can have a turn where you have like 50 actions that you do, a bunch of card plays, right? You can't do that in a multiplayer card game. Um, all of these things end up reducing variance and card draw variance so much. Like if you have a full relic bar, who cares what your cards are? Like it doesn't matter. You're just gonna kill them with relics if you farm the run well enough. If you path in a specific way, something you can completely control. That's not about card draw variance. You can control the variance that card games naturally have by such an unbelievable amount. So you keep the coolness of a card game, which is hey, every hand you draw is different. You're still interacting on a card basis where each is like you're building a deck and you're doing all the things that a card game and a strategy game in that sense might do, but you're doing in a completely different way than most serious strategy card games have just done it in the past, right? And it to me it kind of unlocked, oh, I didn't like this about other card games. I didn't realize how much I didn't like this about other card games until I played Spire, and I was like, oh right, it's so much cooler that I can have so much more agency. The amount of agency Spire One has was crazy, like unbelievable amount of decision points. Every turn had decision points. Every pathing thing had a decision point. Your Niao had a decision point. Like this, it's just a crazy amount of decision points, and the more decision points you give a player in a strategy game, the more places that they have to improve. And yet, despite having that much agency, you still felt like you were on the edge. Um, anyway, that's my thing. I think that's my favorite thing. Is just the amount of agency you have, and the PVE nature of it. Frankly, giving so much depth. Okay, other one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, go ahead.
PvP, like just to talk about what you're talking about there. I think PvP card games, they have like a design idea in mind where every player is supposed to win like half the time when they're playing. Like they try to limit the amount of skill expression you can have, while like PvE games they have like uncapped skill expression, right? Because they
You
don't
can't
care
be
how much you
You
win.
can't be broken
Like
in a PvP card game. If your deck is broken in a PvP, that's a problem, right?
yeah,
In a
that's a
PvP
problem for
card
the
game, if
meta.
your deck is a broken, it's like you did good job. You built it to be broken. Good job, man. Like
Yeah, I definitely say this is true, but like I got a little lucky. The PvP card game I played before Spire, and like what introduced me to card games. Well, I played like Magic the Gathering when I was very young, but Pokemon TCG was a game I played before Spire, and that game has similar kinds of like decision points and skill expression. Like it's very different from other PvP card games. So I'd say that's the only exception that I've played, where it's like kind of more like PvE card games, more like Spire, where like your decision points every turn matter. Like the better player usually wins in Pokemon, which is something I don't like a lot of people know about that game. But that game has a lot of skill expression, so it's more like Spire than it is like Magic, in my opinion. But yeah, aside from that, I do agree. Like other card games are designed in a way that's fundamentally kind of uninteresting, like especially compared to PvE games. Like I completely agree with you on that level, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, the second question. So we all love Say Spire, and all of my favorite games I've ever played. I have a whole list. I keep a spreadsheet of every game I've ever beaten, and I rank them. All my tens, I still have issues with, and I think that there's the things nitpicks here and there. But the most important thing to me is where they rest in my heart, and Slay the Spire obviously rests very deep in my heart. I think it's a beautiful game. Having said that, there are things, in Spire One, which you're like, man, gosh darn it. Like I wish this was slightly changed or different about the whole thing. What are the things that you always had like as a wish list of things that you thought that Spire One, as like everyone in this chat has in this call has over 4,000 hours in Spire One, right?
I've barely
And
over 4,000.
well, barely. There you go. Right. So, this is better than looking at any Steam reviews, right? In terms of the people who understand the game, probably at a deeper level, just by number of hours. What criticisms could you lob based on your more in depth understanding of the game? What things do you think really really stand out?
I think it's just Act 3 for me. It's like most runs, Act 3 is just me waiting to get to Act 4 to play the game.
Yeah.
That's like the main criticism.
Yeah, I think I don't really think that there's any like, serious player who actually likes Act 3 that much.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
me
Act 3 is awesome.
personally, I think one of the bigger issues I had with Spy 1, it's still present in Spy 2. In fact, maybe it's even more. It's that there are a few too many things that you can play like complete garbage for the whole run. You play like super bad. You make every single wrong decision, and then you see like this one specific flaw, and suddenly you win for no reason. You don't deserve the win, but you win. There's too many things like that, which I don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgiveness of mistakes is definitely a complaint I would have with Spire One. Too much healing. Healing would allow you to get away with making a ton of errors, so you wouldn't have to pay attention to what you're doing nearly as much. Spire 2 has the same issue where if you have things like pantograph, things like meat on the bone, you don't have to engage with the game nearly as much as when you don't have access to these types of things. That's a huge problem in my opinion.
Yeah, I have a small list of things I'd say. I think the last point is a really good one. Definitely, like once you get to a certain skill level and a certain amount of time with Spire, like it's cool to do a Dead Brunch corruption run, like your first, I don't know, probably 100 times, maybe even 200 times. But there comes a point where you're like, all right, I kind of want to click a ban and run. Like I'm good. Like I get it, right? Like I've done this, and certainly there is a lot of those things in Spire One. I'd say like early Toxic Egg, early Pocket Watch, Meat on the Bone, the healing stuff, just more broadly. Um, they were they were a bit of freebies on a relative level, not completely freebies sometimes. Not like okay, you have 100% win rate, but it's just such a big jump and such a big like relief compared to the normal tension of the game that it always felt a bit odd. Um, Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I think the Watcher not being finished is really sad. Mostly because I don't think it would take a lot to make the Watcher like more in line. I really think it was quite close, and it was like a couple patches away. So that one makes me sad. And Act 3, like you guys mentioned, is obvious. Like all the hallways in Act 3 are just too easy. Um, and it's even the Act 3 bosses could be a bit harder. We used to think they were hard, and then they weren't. And
The
there's none
dreadful
of them are.
shapes,
Yeah, yeah,
shapes of evil.
for real. Donu Deka, for Donu Deka might be the most. If I have to like pick a boss or an elite in Spire One, where I'm like, this one isn't quite to the quality level of the rest of them. Maybe Donodeka or Guardian. But Guardian serves a role at least. But
The Guardian is so much more of a loser than Donu Deka. Like Donu Deka has so much more aura than Guardian. Like the Guardian doesn't do
True.
anything. Like Donu Deka will actually kill you. Like it's just
It could happen, yeah.
They should put donuts in Spy 2, and then you'll feel the wrath when you can't weaken either of them, and you're getting owned, and then you'll respect them.
I think people would be a bit surprised on like how much Spire 1 enemies wouldn't be a challenge in Spire 2. Like I think if you put the knob in like exactly the same knob from Spire 1 in Spire 2, I think people would be kind of surprised at how much they'll just destroy it like effortlessly on turn 3 every single time because all the cards are better. Like the numbers on everything is higher, everything is stronger. Like all the events are better, all the cards are better. Like your gold converts into more power. Like everything is just stronger. So the knob is a stat check, and you would just succeed that stat check like every time in Spire 2 because of like the way the numbers work. Maybe not on Necrobinder, but like on every other character, you're just gonna succeed it like every time. Like the knob just does not have enough HP. You have to buff the knob's HP. And Donudek is probably a similar story where like the fight would just be really easy because everything's overstated in Spire 2. Like the cards are just better overall.
Um, it's also interesting that in at least for me, I don't know, I find there's like this curve, right? Where like when you're first playing Spire, when you get the really strong stuff, you get very excited. But there comes a point with your hours climb where you get most excited when you like see a really bad pathing and like a bad Niao, and you're like, oh, okay, lock in time. You get the gamer lead going. And to me, those are always the most interesting runs. Those are the ones where you have a chance for one of those signature runs. Rather than just having a steamroll. Okay, so that's cool. I'd say okay. So the competitive history of Slay Spire One happened through a bit of an arc. I guess when you guys look and think about like the community around Spire and like how it's grown and like the different players and stuff. Is there in going into Spire 2, is there like stuff that you guys would like to see on a community level? Like people maybe collaborations more or things or different types of competitions, tournaments, whatever is the case in Spire 2?
Now I'm not really thinking too much about that. I just want the game to be finished first.
Yeah, that especially for real.
Yeah, I think I'm also just enjoying the process, not thinking too much about. I mean, when I see someone else get a big streak, I'm always excited though. I'm just happy for them to get a streak. Other than that, not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I don't really care all that much about the competitive aspect of Spire. Even in Spire 1, I don't really care about it. Just like the game. I want to learn about the game and watch people learn about the game and then learn from them. That's like that process is what I enjoy. That's why I'm here, is to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess competitive is such a loaded word. I don't necessarily mean like us against each other. It's more like us against the game type of competitive. Do you know what I mean? Like us learning the game together type of competitive. Because
I think
I
the
agree with
idea
you,
is,
especially in this early stage. There's not really like, oh my god, it's Blur versus Nave and a duel of justice. Like it's not like like it's
I,
not
think
quite like that.
I
Yeah,
think the idea is like players pushing each other to do more. Like oh, look what the
yeah.
thing I did. Like you can do the same thing because these are the ideas I used to get here. So like everyone kind of knows that once the Spire is slain in a certain way, once you win a certain amount, then like other people can like replicate those accomplishments and push it even farther with new ideas, and like that type of iteration is the fun part of the competition for sure.
Yeah, I always think of like Spire, quote unquote, competitive scene, right? As a big like collaborative puzzle game. Everybody push in the different ideas, and the other people just like have these ideas and they develop more on them, and everyone just get better in a different way. We tackle the challenge together. You know?
Yeah, I also agree with this. Although, if you were to do a Nave versus Blur battle to the death, I would be so down to watch that. Just saying.
Did you want blood?
I want to watch someone else battle it
You
out.
want
I don't want to be there.
you
Though.
want,
Just
you
want
want
to
my head
watch.
on a stake, dude? Dave, if we have time controls, I'm screwed. Dave plays at 45 minutes. Why am I so slow at this game? Also, how do you guys play so fast? This is the one thing I don't understand. Opim and Nave, you guys are way faster. Like I
Yeah,
don't even know
I'm
how to do it
really
yet.
fast. Yes.
Opum's
Yeah.
like around the same speed as XecnaR most of the time, right? Yeah, like 2 hours per run.
I don't know. It's like depends on how much I'm yapping. Though. If I'm talking, it's like
Yeah,
2
I
or 3
yap a
hours.
lot.
And if I'm not, then it's like I don't know, 40 minutes.
I guess
Dave,
it
you're the
doesn't matter.
fastest. You're insanely fast. And sometimes I'm like, your accuracy decisions are still quite good. I'm like, well, how are you doing this, dude?
Yeah, I tried playing slow on stream in Spire
Mm.
1, and it was like not fun because you just get backseated constantly. It's like really obnoxious. And it would be even worse in Spire 2 with like the increase in viewership and stuff. Like playing slow is just painful because you just have people like yelling at you, telling you to do things constantly. It's like it's not fun. So I have to be so fast that the backseaters can't catch me. That's basically the idea. I had to get good enough that like
Oh.
I could play fast enough that the backseaters can't catch me. It's that's the logic anyway.
All the chatters listening, yeah. Grind your typing speed so you can backseat Nave. Get grinding.
I have a very open policy in my chat of like, hey, they suggest something and I like kind of argue with them for a little bit. Usually I'm just like, okay, you're wrong about this. It does end up taking a lot of time. So maybe that is part of it. But I don't know. I kind of find it fun because then at least we can have that discussion. But you're right that like, I mean, often people in chat don't have suggestions you want to take, and sometimes it ends up biasing you. Like they say something like, yeah, maybe, yeah, and you're like, wait, I would have. That's not good. And then you look back and you're like, that was terrible. And that's when it doesn't come from you, you're like, what am I doing? You know, I should have just read that. And playing fast, I guess, does. I never even thought about it like that.
You can
It's,
still
it's
read
just
it. I'm on your side for this. I like discussing with the chat, although a lot of time it is just what are you talking about? But discussion's like fun, but just don't let it influence you. Because I'll discuss and then I'll be like, yeah, I don't care what you think though. But I will discuss it. Wait, I just said that out loud. Oh god, I actually do care what you think. I swear, I'm discussing.
yeah, I just find it massively distracting. Is my problem. I play worse basically when I play slow on stream because all the chat messages like talking about the lines and stuff are just so distracting to me that my lines actually get worse. so my play quality goes down the slower I play a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because
It
of
is
that.
distracting though, for sure. Yeah.
I get into like a flow state, like where I'm like just I know what to do and I'm just like clicking the cards. And there are certainly downsides. Like there's definitely been runs where if I played a bit slower, I would have won them. Even runs in important streaks where if I just slowed down and thought for another like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I would have been fine. Like even when I lost my 30 streak on Watcher, like if I had just considered what would have happened in the Book of Stabbing fight, I said before I entered the fight because I died at Book of Stabbing on Watcher. I said before I entered the fight, this is how I die. I walk into the Book of Stabbing fight. I like can't exit Wrath, so I can't enter Wrath, so I die. And thinking about that, it's like extremely obvious that that's way too big of a threat. But I just need to spend like 10 more seconds in that moment to think about that. So there's certainly downsides, but it's just kind of what I've committed to is going that fast, even on the big streaks. I just don't slow down. Except for that one defect run, that one single defect run where I spent 4 hours. It's the only exception.
Yeah, I yesterday I had a 3-hour grand finale run that I barely won on Inspire 2 on my hour 12 of my stream. And hour 13.
What?
My brain was cooked. I literally
How are
was
you
my brain was falling.
thinking?
I wasn't. It was tough. It was like I was using every last brain cell. I was like I was having a really hard time. Somehow I won anyway. That could also be it sometimes, is that I'm like pushing exhaustion and that makes me a little slower. Um, but I have a lot of jealousy for this fast players because you guys like I feel like you can see more seeds and you can like learn faster in a lot of ways. But when I try to play that fast, I make so many mistakes that I actually learn less. So it doesn't help me as much.
Yeah, I think that's also an advantage of playing fast is that you just see more of the game. If
Yeah.
there was a player at some point in the history of Spire that would play like 12-hour runs. If you all remember Creator, he would like play like 12-hour defect
Only
runs, and he was
12?
trying to only 12. Yeah, he was
I thought
trying
it was
to.
longer than that. I
It's longer than
misremember.
12, it's like 16 or something.
I thought it was
He,
like
he was
16 average or something.
he was trying to learn the
Oh,
game and he was trying to get better at the game. And one of my like I was trying to tell him like you should like you don't know enough at this point to be playing this slowly. Like you gotta play more runs. But he just felt like uncomfortable making mistakes. Like he didn't want to make mistakes, so he wanted to play slow to make sure that he wouldn't make mistakes. But because he hadn't seen very much of the game, because he hadn't played very many seeds because of the slow play,
yeah.
there's just a lot of blind spots in macro strategy that was causing him to lose rather than even if he wasn't making any individual micro mistakes. So it's sort of like a trade-off. Like the slower you play, the less mistakes you'll make, but also the less you're getting exposed to. And then the more you play, the more stuff you get exposed to, but the more mistakes you'll make. And then eventually you got to find an equilibrium that allow you to play your best.
You can kind of cheat this though just by watching other people that are faster. And you just steal their ideas. It's cheat time.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I mean, that's literally my motto. It's just like steal from other players. It's so useful. Like other players are like that's where you should get most of your information. That's where I got most of my information. Was just
It's especially if you're low win rate. If you're low win rate, like going from 0 to like I don't know, at least 50 or something win rate, um, jumping from that to that can happen just from watching. Like you don't even touch the game at all. Um, just watching, like if you just put like 100 hours into watching, your win rate's going to go up so much. It's unbelievable. And just osmosis and absorbing. I usually say get the best way to get better, especially early on, is just watching, not playing. Spire's weird that way. You get really good by just watching.
I don't know if I agree with this. You have to
Oh,
play the game, right? Like it's easy to watch someone be like, yeah, that makes sense. I would have done that. And then you open the game, you're like, the hell's going on? At least I had this a lot. Like I watched that, I'm like,
yeah,
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 that makes sense. And I play, I'm like, do I skip? Do I pick this card? I don't know what's happening. So
yeah.
yeah.
you have to actually play the game.
Every run is
Not
so
just watch
different
it.
that like you're always gonna be exposed to unique situations that you have to like you can't just steal from someone else in the runs that you're playing. But simultaneously, also the game has no mechanical aspect really. Yeah, so it says Mr. Misclick. Like I'm literally Mr. Misclick, but the game doesn't actually have a mechanical aspect. Theoretically, you shouldn't misclick on things, and so it's easier to steal from other players because other games you have to like you can't steal from other players by watching them because you have to like learn how to you have to get that muscle memory and how to like press the buttons in the right order and stuff. But Spire doesn't have that aspect to it, so it's all just ideas. So of course, other like stealing from other players is invaluable in a game where there's no mechanical aspect.
It's always a mix of both. You have your own base understanding, right? And then how you build on that understanding is very dependent on what you have seen. So you need to like just keep playing, but you also need to, you need to do both. You cannot do just one thing. Like personally, for me, I just watch a lot and I also play like a crap load.
Yeah, when you started streaming though, like you were already it was like day 1 of 2 where you were streaming. And I was like, okay, it was very obvious from your early on that you were insanely good, which is different than I think a lot of other streamers I've seen where, they start streaming and they get better and better and better, and like you watch the process and like, oh wow, this guy's hella good now, it felt like so you must have been playing a lot before you ever click live. Like what made you finally click live? Like, it was kind of like this entire time you were out there probably pretty good, but just you didn't show it to anyone yet. I wonder how many other people there are like that.
Oh yeah, literally because I was doing like a silent sample, right? Like only 30 runs. Then at the time, I think samples was around the top samples were around like, maybe like 65 or something. I got 63. So I knew at the time that okay, I was good enough to actually get the silent world record. I can do 9, no problem. But I cannot like claim world records off stream, right? So I just hey, okay, why not? I just click go live because I didn't have anything else to do at the time. So that was just the start. Because normally I never really interact with other people, when I play games. When I change game, I also change my username and delete like everything else. Just completely new person. Spire is the only thing I have actually stuck with. Like this username has stayed here for 5 years now. It's unheard of. But normally I just don't interact with anyone. I just get good on my own. But yeah, it's mainly my main motivation just to get the official world record, and then I ended up liking the community a lot, liking streaming, liking talking about the game with other people, so I just stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was interesting because it's like again, I came from another scene so I was already making content for other stuff, and I just happened to get into the rabbit hole of Spire, and I saw people like Jorbs and Ballalord were early on like talking about win streaks and stuff like that. And my original goal was just to get the record because I was like, I think it's very similar to you in the sense that like I was like, I think I'm getting pretty good. Like I can't tell if I'm actually as good as these guys. Like let me try it and let me just put it on stream and see if I can get it. Because it's now fun. Like when people are on like Reddit or wherever they are, like they just post their win rate, like that's their win rate. Well, if you didn't do it on stream, it's that's we don't know. No one knows, right? Like it's not real. Um in most people's and I think my eyes as well. Um and so, you know, actually just going out there and proving it is half the fun. So yeah, that was for me the reason to go live with it. Nave and Open, but did you guys stream other games before you started Spire? Or was Spire your like introduction to streaming too?
Yeah.
Spire's like introduction to real streaming, I guess, because I sometimes stream Tetris with no mic. I just literally never talked. I didn't talk in voice chat. I never talked ever. No one knew my voice. And Spire was like the first thing, I guess. I don't think the old Tetris streams like once a year counted.
Yeah, my story is also similar about like getting good at the game because I like watched Baylor and a few other players like get streaks, and I like the streaks. I never really sampled, and I have never really sampled in Inspire, but I was a bit nervous to go live even when I was already good at the game because I was I don't know, just nervous to like be on stream playing the game and worried about like losing in front of people and like how that would feel and stuff. But at some point I got the rotating world record off stream. Obviously it doesn't count. I got 22 off stream when the rotating world record was 20 by Baylor. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's
okay, I have
brutal.
to.
Getting a
I was
record
like,
off stream, that's terrible, dude.
I was
That would
I
make
was
me
like, I
feel
have to go live. I have to start playing the game on stream because like I can't just be like doing this kind of stuff off stream. Like if I was a different person in the community, I would want the person getting 22 streaks off stream to like go live and just play the game on stream because I would want to watch that. I was like, I should just do this, even though I was very nervous. I was very nervous to do it, but I did do it.
Gotcha.
Wait, everyone here stream because they're getting records. It's crazy. I'm like a fraud. I just wanted to try out talking about the game and see if I like it. So I just did that. Yeah, it was pretty fun though. I'm still doing it.
Yeah. It's funny how the origins are similar-ish, where it's like, hey, we were getting good enough where we were like, it's kind of silly not to, stream it. And then we were like, okay, I got to do it. I put too many hours into this to not show people, you know, how some of my ideas or some of the things I'm doing, like, and go for these things. And it kind of ends up pushing you. Like I think that's part of what makes the conversation around this stuff good, is because there's probably someone out there who is really, who is putting a lot of time into Spire and stuff. Like, it could be someone in this chat right now who eventually they get so good that they're like, I might as well stream. Why not? Like, I'm on hour 5,000 of this game series. I might as well, Fun.
Hello.
You guys.
Any more topics?
Yeah. I don't know. I've been the one coming up with all these topics. What about you, Dave? Come on, give the blur question. How about that? What about that? This is our first time anyone talking with anybody. Is there anything you
You're
guys?
talking so hard, dude.
You guys been
Yeah.
talking? Yeah, we have been
I'm
talking.
too introverted.
And yeah, I'm used to Open being quiet because I've recorded a podcast with Open. He's always like, "What do
We're
I talk
talking so
about?" Like,
hard.
I don't know how to continue the conversation. Like, yeah, like, I think something I saw Jason wanted like to talk about earlier with me specifically. I guess my journey in Spire 1, like the end of it with the 30 streak, because I wasn't able to get like any world records or like even kind of really get close to getting world records in Spire 1. And a lot of that was like mental, and I think probably everyone in this call, maybe except for Opum, because he's just like, I don't have a mental game. I just play the game and nothing matters. But like for me, mental was everything in Slay the Spire 1. It was like my entire, like, all the problems that I had were mental blocks, and I would get to a certain streak number and my hands would just start shaking while I was playing the game, and I just couldn't think straight, because I would just get very nervous on stream. And like figuring out how to conquer that mental game was actually all I had to do to get the world record in Spire 1. And I think that's something that's not talked about enough, really, when it comes to Spire and just games like this, where people are like, oh, you got that because you had the right ideas. You played the fights correctly. You had the right ideas of what cards. But you can have all the right ideas and like all the best ideas of what cards to pick. But if you mentally fall apart at some point, or just go live when you shouldn't, or don't have the right mindset going into the streaks, like you don't approach it with the right kind of thinking, and you approach it with like the very nervous mindset or something, you'll just fall apart completely. Like I think that's true for a lot of players, and a lot of players could do a lot better if they like were able to have that strong mental game, because they have all the right ideas. They know what cards are good. They know how to like play the game correctly, but they just fall apart mentally at some point. At least that was certainly my experience.
Yeah, don't get tilted.
How did you
I
get
get
over the
tilted.
mental hump? I'm kind of curious because at some point you just got over it, right? You fixed this issue.
Well,
How
it became
was
like a
that?
thing where I knew Spire 2 was going to come out, and I wanted to get specifically the rotating world record before Spire 2 came out. Not even the world record. I just wanted to beat my PB. Like, my off-stream PB was 22, and I had been streaming for like 2.5 years, and I hadn't beaten it. And that was really annoying to me, because I knew I was way better at the game than what I was all that time ago when I got that streak. So I was like, I've improved so much, but I haven't been able to like improve on that PB, just because I get so nervous every time that the streak gets big. But it just became a thing about like setting the right like processes, like go live at a specific time, go live with like the right kind of mindset, like be positive about the game, be like, I'm happy to be here and I'm just playing the game, instead of worrying so much about losing, like just not beating myself up too much about like the losses. And when I make mistakes, don't, because a lot of the problem was I would play runs, and in the early game or at some point I'd make a mistake and lose some HP, and then I would get so annoyed at myself for making that mistake. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm just throwing, like it's over, I'm just throwing, and then I would just completely derail for the rest of the run. And then eventually I would actually I'd throw one too many times, but a lot of the time you can make a huge mistake and then pull yourself back mentally. And if you play the rest of the run properly, it doesn't matter that you like lost 30 HP in a floor because you made some stupid error. Like, you can still win. instead of having the mindset of like it's over, the run's not perfect anymore, I've already blew it, you know. And this came into play a lot of times during the streak, like especially at the end with the defect run. Like I completely collapsed mentally in the heart fight. Like I was like, it's over, I'm done, it's over. And then I was like, okay, let's like sit back and reframe, like let's take a refresher and then reapproach the micro. And then I was actually able to barely win the fight and push the streak to 30. So that's something I couldn't do before. Once I was able to do that, then I was able to actually get the streak. That's basically the only thing I changed.
I guess mindset is pretty important. Yeah, like even if I'm chilling, because I know, I talked to you this before when doing the podcast. It was like before I even start stream, I know if I'm gonna lose. It's like I feel like trash today, but I'll just start stream anyway. But I guess if you're going for the streaks, I kind of did this when I was doing samples. Where it's like because I didn't care about streaming, I just care about playing well. So if I felt terrible, I just don't stream. I'm like, okay, I feel okay today, so I'll stream. It is ultimately just a lot of mental, right?
Yeah, mindset's everything. Like if you go live only when you're feeling your absolute best, like you play practice runs, because that does actually help a lot. Like you will push the boundaries of what you're able to do to its absolute maximum. But if you like just go live whenever because like it's your job or like it doesn't matter if I'm feeling bad, I'm just gonna go live like because I just want to play the game, I just want to talk to people because I'm just there to hang out, you know. Then you're gonna lose a lot more, and you're not gonna push like the streaks and the win rate to its absolute maximum. Like mindset's everything when it comes to those types of things, like pushing the boundaries on that. I think there's a lot of players that are capable of like getting those top end like world record streaks and win rates, but it's just having the right mindset to actually pull it off.
I'll admit, most of my most embarrassing losses in Spire 2 so far have come on our 8+, 9+ of my streams. The gameplay does plummet at some point. At some point, you're just a tired baby. You're like it's tough, and that is a thing. I don't know if it's weird though because I only play on stream right now, and I kind of want to play a lot, especially in these early days, to just like learn the new game. So uh, you're right that to optimize win streaks and win rates, you should play your best. You should like stop when you're tired. Um, but I just don't follow that all the time. You know, like no, not even close to at least. Because like with real life and stuff, it's like sometimes I only have a long Saturday to like play, and I want to use all those hours. I want to use every second. I'm a grinder. I'm naturally a grinder. Nothing changes with time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also a grinder. I'll just sit and like play like back when I was grinding Spire 1 and like learning the game, I would just like sit for like all day, literally all day and play the game. And eventually I would stop playing well, but it's a thing when like the priority is learning, and I think right now in the early access period, I think the priority for everyone's going to be learning, right? Like they're just going to be
Yeah.
trying to see as much of the game, learn about as much about the game. And then like maybe once 1.0 comes out, there would be more like, okay, let's like actually try hard and dedicate myself to getting as big of a streak as possible for this time period.
Yeah.
I don't think in early access that's going to be done by most people.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
may I interject here for a moment with a prompt to use to bring us to our last like 8 to 10 minutes of discussion to close things out?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. First, I appreciate all four of you being here to do this. Been so insightful and really interesting to listen to all your perspectives. A lot of this stuff I already have known from following you all for so many years, but I appreciate having you all in one place to reiterate some of these things and to share it with some new members of the community who haven't been able to see this before. One of the reasons why this is so cool is that Spire 1 had just an incredible amount of longevity. So much longevity that a lot of people still think that we may end up returning back to Spire 1 rather than potentially sticking to Spire 2. I'm not so sure about that in the long run, but it's at least floating around in the back of a lot of people's minds. I'm curious what all four of you think in turn. Um, if Spire 2 has a path to achieve that kind of similar longevity as well? And yes or no, what do you think Megacrit needs to do in order to get it that way?
Um, okay, I'll go first. I don't know if I have a common opinion here, but I think it's very likely that it'll be actually be better because I trust these devs a lot, and I'm seeing noticeable improvement every. It's been pretty 4 months of the game getting much better in ways that I didn't even like. For example, when the game first came out, first of all, there's the infinite stuff. Sly was a major problem, etc. And like already some stuff that's happened, like let's say the Dorito getting added, the infected prism, if you guys don't know, it made prepared
Actually,
early on.
infested prism, not infected.
Whatever, dude. I call him the Dorito so much that I don't even know what his name is. The it's made early prepared a lot worse. Things like that, and that also has a knock on effect that you can't just take every tremble to make your dominate build an ironclad. Like it has all of these knock on effects that are happening from just let's say that enemy getting added, and Aeon, of course, changed a whole bunch of things. Like this, especially with us being so hardened by this very last change that we had in this last month, makes me believe in this game's path a lot more. There are many things I want changed, and I do not think it's better than Spire 1 yet. I think it would be ridiculous for it to be before Act 4. It shouldn't be possible for it to be before Act 4 better than Spire 1, especially since Spire 1's a masterpiece. But I've played a ton of other roguelike deck builders. I've played many of the major games of the genre. And I already think that Spire 2 is the second best one ever made. I didn't think that when the first game first came out. I think by now it is, and I just think that it's on a really good path, and I there's just more features. There's a lot of things it's doing right. Also, it's not just that I have faith. It's that there are certain things I think are just better already. Like many things that I think are better than the way Spire 1 did it. Yes, the enemy designs and elites and bosses are not as good as Spire ones overall, as just almost overall, especially with like boring ones like Berdonus, my least favorite, and the eyeball guy whose name no one remembers. That guy sucks too, the Act 3 guy. Some of them are boring for sure, but I would say the early pool hallways and early pool hallway decisions, the many hallway fights, in fact, are actually already up there compared to Spire 1. There's just more cards in Spire 2. The each character has more cards, and so there's a lot more there. There's more characters, period, and some of the ways and directions they can go is cool. I like the way ancients are. I like Niao is vastly improved in my opinion. A lot of them are overtuned, but just designed directionally, I think I like it a lot. Um, there's just a lot of things on a foundational level that I think Spire 2 already has. And with polish and with tuning down, like, okay, they tune down a lot of these broken ancients, and they maybe tune up some enemies, and they tune down some like tracking and a few very problematic cards. And it doesn't seem that far away to me. I see a path. I do see a path, and I expect that path to be met through just because of the track record of these developers. So for me, I'm actually quite sure. I think my expectation is sometime in the next like year that there might be a threshold where it becomes true. I just don't think it's there yet, and I'm excited to just be there along for the ride as it happens. But it's not quite like it's. I've been in communities where the sequel's bad, and I've been heartbroken. Right, I went from Melee to Brawl, and then I went from
You
Guild Wars
certainly
to Guild
have,
Wars
haven't you?
2. There's been a lot of. I know what that feeling is. This is not that feeling. Like it's just not. Like it's wrong. This is a pretty close analog, and a lot of things actually do improve from the original game. There's multiplayer now. It's a little silly, but that's kind of cool that you can just play with your friends. Like these things are like these are cool things, right? Like, and so I'm really optimistic actually, especially with the latest changes. And so I think it's very likely. Now the whole like going back to Spire 1, like Spire 1's not abandonware. Like I think right now when we're in an early access period where we're so excited about it, content for Spire 1's going to go down. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's more Spire 1 activity as Spire 2 gets more settled too, like as like the waves start to settle. But at the moment, obviously everyone's attention's on Spire 2 because it's the Spire 2 era. Like we're in early access. That's how it is.
Yeah, I'm
Cool,
also
cross
just
game
very
streaking
optimistic.
everything.
Yeah,
Like
that'd be
cross
cool.
games used to be fun.
That sounds, dude. That the amount of skill that would require. Holy, rotating 2 games. Oh,
Can't imagine playing Spy 1 without rotating across both games at this point, like ever. But I'm also just very optimistic about how the game's progressing. I'm just enjoying the process. And for the game to get better, I guess just if the enemies are significantly harder, because the player is so strong right now, like so many runs, you see the ancient bonus, you're like, okay, I win. But if the enemies are really strong to keep up with you, then I think that make the game a lot more exciting. That's pretty much it, right? I think.
Just 5 days away.
I think I'm sort of it's so over, we're so back type of like repetitive loop with Spire 1 or Spire 2, where it's like Aeon Glass comes out and it's like, okay, we're so back, and then like next week or like on Thursday, Aeon Glass is gonna get nerfed to Oblivion, and I'm gonna be like, oh, it's so over. just, just like continuing in that loop. And I think really the final nail in the coffin, or the final like, oh, it's gonna be good moment, is just gonna be Act 4's release. Like once Act 4 is released and we see what it is and we see what that adds to the game, then we'll know for sure if like the game's gonna like have those like that kind of long-term complexity that Spire 1 had, because Act 4 makes up it's such a big deal. You have to do it every single run, and it's where the biggest challenge of the run is. So every run's just defined in some way or another by Act 4. And I think that's going to be the moment where we all like are gonna know for sure like what the game's gonna be. I think before that it's just a lot of reactionary takes of like, oh, Aeon Glass is great, I love Aeon Glass. Oh, Aeon Glass is gone now. It's replaced with Doormaker's Sun, and it's over. Like it's just gonna be like a lot of going in those types of loops back and forth. Like when we see the alternate Act 2s and we're like, oh, this makes the game worse, and they change some things, oh, it makes the game better. It's just gonna go back and forth, and all that balancing is gonna be done. But once Act 4 is released, that's like the final like capstone to the balance and going to define a lot of the balance. So that's mostly what I'm waiting for at this point. I feel like before that, I'm just kind of reacting to things that I barely understand and don't really have a good way to predict what they're going to end up being like in the long term.
All right. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to hear all 4 of your perspectives on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing where Spire 2 takes us in the wake of the masterpiece that Spire 1 ended up being.
Probably never
If
going to play
I
Spire 1 again. I don't know if
never,
that's like, I think maybe for like a cross rotation streak for fun, but like, I don't know. But the game feels bad to play now. Like the game feel is just so like wretched. Like it's just not good compared to Spire 2. So it's like kind of hard to like have fun playing it in the same way. I think it could be like okay. But...
dude, I will say this. Like, this is almost blasphemous, because we do love Knob, and I want to say Knob is the coolest thing. Like one of the game design, everything everyone said earlier. However, the Niaos and early floors of Spire 2, like, like there is more going on. Like the fact that I can click more than just attacks, and also the fact that like I have more Niao like complexity. Like remember the early floors were just like the first like 6 floors were like click 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 get through.
Okay.
Like it wasn't.
Blur, you were all like, oh, only click attacks. Yeah, the same guy who said after image equals dead. Like, you just don't know what you're doing in Spire.
All right. Okay.
Like, you could
I was
absolutely.
I was being simplistic. You're right. No, you're right. You don't just take attack. There's certainly definitely some skills and some certain things that you still take Inspire 1, and we did get better at that. You're right. But I'm just saying that it's obviously way more expansive in Inspire 2 in terms of the first few floors. And the first few floor enemy designs, yeah, okay. I think like Jawworm and a few others, making sure you don't super low roll those fights. There's some micro for sure, but look at the slugs. Look at the beautiful slugs in Spire 2. And look at them dead in the eyes and tell me that's not good game design. Because to me, that's sick, to be able to say that. I mostly just want to throw some water into the general idea that this approach of a little bit more freedom, maybe not entire freedom, because, and the Dorito and some other things do limit us a little bit, can maybe lead to a more interesting game design space. Maybe it's possible. Maybe we just don't know it yet. I think what we don't want, of course, is what happened for Necro underdogs for a while, right? Where you can
For a
kind
while?
of
What do you
just
mean for a while?
okay,
Still
maybe for
going
right
on.
now too. Oh, it's still going on, right? That is the stuff that worries me for sure.
Okay,
You know,
but
like,
are you aware of the macro strategy of Necro before the Dorito and the new Glass came out? Are you aware of the like invoke capture spirit thing?
yeah, that thing was broken.
No, you actually just
Uh,
skip every single card. You remove your whole deck, pick invoke, pick capture spirit, and then you win every single fight.
Yeah, that one was
After
capture
30
spirit was
turns.
You're
Yeah, after
basically
takes
having
30
a watch
30
turns.
around. You should remove every
Yeah.
card. And like the base cards just have a lot of problems. But I would agree on the Niao front. Like lots of different Niao options is actually so fun. Like them adding more Niao bonuses to the game. Every single time they've added more Niao bonuses, I feel like it's made the game more fun to play. Just because you get more like options in the early game. It's just a lot of enjoyable stuff comes out of that. I wouldn't say the drafting in the early game, like what you do in early shops, is more dynamic than what you do in Spire 1, though. There was still a lot of like greedy decisions to be made that would pay off in Spire 1. And in a lot of ways, it was more interesting because there was more like potential failure points for different options in Spire 1. But on the Niao end, yes, I agree for sure. The Niaos are great in Spire 2.
Yeah.
They're maybe too
Now,
strong, but the amount of options is cool.
now
Yeah,
there
I like
are
it when things
tons
are
of
more
problematic
pickable.
stuff. Yeah, it's. I think it's as long as we feel like some of them, as long as they are where you're leaning to pick, like early game damage is still lean to pick or supposed to pick, and it's more, you know, it's not like you can just skip all damage or damage commons type vibe. That's where it gets really degenerate in a lot of these type of games. Because then your deck is too streamlined. Um,
Inspire 1 had that problem to a major degree with like Watcher, Ironclad. Like
yeah.
even sometimes silent. Like every character could play in very degenerate ways in Spire 1 that could have been prevented with better game design. Like the game wasn't perfect.
Mhm.
And it did allow you to get away with a lot, especially on Watcher. A lot of stuff that you shouldn't have been able to get away with. And
Yeah. I mean, also, I think there is something inspired. There's a few worrying things for sure. Like the amount that some characters face have problems with certain enemies compared to others. Like facing against the waterfall giant on Necro, it's just like it's so free. It's so insanely free because of Aussie health. Um, it's not that dissimilar, I guess, to like Watcher Slime Boss versus Silent Slime Boss or something like that. That happened in Spire 1. But uh, the way Aeon works with Withers and what Defect can do to those, versus the other characters, and what Ironclad can do to those versus the other characters. It does feel like some of those the ground underneath some of those design decisions is a bit shaky, just because I don't think it's a great play space where the character variance on from fight to fight is so large, and where one feels much more challenging than the other. And I wonder because they said they're going to add more characters too, um, if that's going to get harder and harder to balance enemies when there's so many characters in the game.
I actually think it's fine. Like if certain like Defect being really good at Iron Glass, I think it's fine if like you balance it out basically. Like if Act 4, for instance, exists and Defect's like particularly bad at it in some way.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of hard with Defect being as strong as it is, but like that type of balancing is fine, I think, for certain characters.
Spire
That
1
was the
had a
case in
lot of
Spire
that
1.
too, honestly. Like
Yeah.
Spire 1 Act 4 Defect was way harder than the rest of the game by far. Like it was
Yeah, if you're bad.
what? Oh, okay, I'm bad then, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
Well,
What do you want?
I need to jump in here, guys, and because we do need to go ahead and button this up to make some room for the defect seed.
Is this
But
the Spire 1 seed or Spire
Aspire
2?
1 defect seed, yes, that's what's
Oh,
coming
the
up.
the monster seed,
The
according
monster
to
seed. So, first, yes, the XecnaR. Quickly, can you describe, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how diabolical you said this seed feels like it's going to be?
I feel like maybe you can rate this maybe a 9.5. But it depends on how
9.5.
you play really. I have looked at Act 1
Uh,
somewhat carefully, but I think I think if you play well, you will be fine. I'm not sure whether it's actually a 9.5 or not, but it will feel like the seed is trying to kill you.
So that's what we have to look forward to in the next few minutes here. So if you'll give me the grace, I would like to quickly plug our charity one more time. This Pride with Friends event is supporting Mermaids UK. That's an organization that has been operating since 1995 as a small group of concerned parents around the kitchen table looking for ways to keep their children safe and happy. And what they've grown into is one of the UK's leading trans-focused charities, providing services to trans children and young people, to the families of those trans children and young people, and doing work to educate and inform professionals and organizations who want to be part of a society where trans children and young people are safe, included, and empowered to be their best selves. That is also a mission that this event tries to share with the community at large. It means a lot to us that the Spire community, as organizers, I mean us as organizers, it means a lot to us as organizers that the Spire community is so welcoming and so thoughtful and so kind in so many respects to these marginalized communities. And it is actually the hard work of many people within those marginalized communities that makes this event so cool. And the reason why we get to have something like this retrospective look at Spire 1 with four of the absolute titans of the community, people that we all look up to and respect so much. And they're here supporting a cause like this too. And I think that is just absolutely incredible. And I'd like to, I don't think we can do a round of applause, but if we can just get some emotes in the chats, some transgender pride, some gay pride, some pride in general for all of these incredible players and pillars of our community. We really appreciate you guys doing this for us. And I would like to propose, what would you say if this campaign reaches the 10,000 pound goal, that we could try to arrange getting the four of you back together for some Spire 2 4-player co-op? Would you be down for that? You can say no, but I'm just curious if we could maybe try to arrange that if we hit that 10,000 pound goal.
4-player's so free though. Like it's like
Speedrun, sub 8.
You just have to
what-
speedrun.
So it's so easy.
Yeah, I think multiplayer in Spy 2 is two players are most difficult, and then or you're a bit too strong. But yeah,
I think that's true. I think that's true, but I don't think what we're looking for is a hard run. I think we're looking for a good time with the four of you again.
You have no idea who you're talking to. Talking to all these tryhards, like
That was brutal, bro. Like, yeah, no. These guys are masochists. They want to feel pain.
yeah.
I
It's
get
actually
that.
so
I
true,
get
though.
that.
I actually
I
do like
get
to
that.
speedrun though, but like you guys are not optimal speedrun partners because you know you're over and like you guys are all over the world. You know I can't
too
I
much
can't do it with you
ping.
guys. And there's also an old man. You know like we can't I can't do that. You know?
Well, hey, let's compromise and say we'll
Doesn't
try to
hurt.
get you four back together for some kind of other event, some kind of other get together. So I would encourage you to reach out to me or one of the organizers of this event who you've already been in touch with, and suggest some kind of idea that you think might be fun or cool that you'd be interested in doing, and let's see if we can get something like that together.
Yeah, sure. More events inspired too would be great. Like just more community stuff. Private Friends is
I'm
awesome, but even more stuff like this would be really cool to see.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
always
see if
down.
maybe we can do some more stuff throughout the year. Shoot us some ideas, everybody out in chat as well. Reach out, let us know what you're interested in, and let's see if we can get some more cool community stuff together. Because I agree, and I think a lot of other people do too. And I'd be willing to continue to put in some work on making this more common for everybody. So thank you, Nave.
I'm down for whatever really, if it fits my time zone, which may or may not be very friendly for some people. And I don't really mind too much, whatever it is.
Well, with that, I would like to offer the four of you to just share a couple of quick closing words. We are getting the defect lobby together behind the scenes right now and getting people prepped up for that. So we're going to be able to hopefully transition to it pretty smoothly. But I would like to give you all, 30 seconds each or something to, say your piece and uh, then we'll close this thing out. And we appreciate you so much for being here and doing this. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us. Good luck to the defect players. Do not fall for XecnaR's evil traps. There will be greedy cards probably, and he will trap you, and then he will laugh. Do not fall into them. I don't know. I haven't seen the seed. I'm just making this up.
Yeah, it was cool to be here. Cool to chat about Spire 1. I love Spire 1 and will always hold a special place in my heart. I'm excited to see what Spire 2 brings. And good luck to all the players except for Jason. I hope that you all enjoy watching Jason fail miserably and die because that's
Jason's casting.
inevitable.
I think Jason's casting.
Wait, he's casting?
He's
Oh,
dodging
so
the seed.
freaking sad. I saw him in the runners one. And I was like, he has to be playing. No, he's casting. He dodged. All right, good luck to all the players, everyone involved in the defect seed. I hope you all win.
Yeah.
I just like to say this is my first time actually talking to any of y'all and in this call, and I've watched all of you collectively for hundreds of hours, and I know that when you're in your room talking to a camera, it's a very lonely experience, and you don't like. There's something to when I was first playing Spire 1 and I was grinding my stream for 2 years. That's when I got to my highest like body weight. I like gained mad weight. It was like after a breakup. Like I had a fire relationship that broke up, and I delved in the Spire streaming, and I like became a degenerate, right? And in that process, I thought like Spire was like the outlet for me, but it was a very lonely experience and all that. And it's like a extremely it's hard to remember like and think that there's like a point to doing all of this or like why are we playing all these video games and what is the meaning of life and all these existential things. Well, in the middle of all that, just remember there is a Persian man in Los Angeles, an old Persian man in Los Angeles who's watching and has really enjoyed everything you guys have made. And I'm genuinely grateful to be a part of the same community and actually finally talk to you guys and put anime pictures to names and actually talk to you guys and hear your thoughts and all that and I'm super jazzed to be able to like do anything else content wise, thoughts wise, talk about the game, anything over Spire 2's development or whatnot. My line's always open because game's dope and we all share a very similar and rare obsession. And what more
I
can
know
you
you
ask
were
for?
Blur. You're maybe the most content-pilled man I've ever seen in the history of like the life and existence of humanity. Like,
I'll do it.
insanely, insanely
There's nothing I'll
content-pilled.
say no to. I love content, baby. It's funny.
Yeah, I don't have much to add, but please just donate to the main campaign of Private Friends. You need to meet some stretch goals. Thank you.
Some thresholds,
Bookshelf
yeah.
will be streaming for 16 hours.
Wait,
What's
what?
the goal for that?
There's a
It's
donation
like
goal for Bookshelf to
16K or
stream 16 hours.
something. I can't remember exactly, or something like that, right?
Yeah, there's a secret incentive for Bookshelf to do up to 16-hour live stream in one shot if we make it to 16,000 pounds.
I might have to donate my life savings to this. Like,
there's a there's a shorter goal, a second one that is a little shorter at 8,000 pounds. Bookshelf will draw the entire Spire.
What?
We'll create an art pack for us to put into a mod and replace all of the art assets
Wait, we
with
can do 4-player like this. That's how we do 4-player exciting. You just can't see the text on the cards. All you got is the bookshelf. You just get the bookshelf art, but you can't see the text.
Blur just
Yeah,
has no idea. Just has no idea why this is funny.
Yeah, Blur, you
I'm
don't know
lost.
this yet.
I don't know what you
You'll
guys
have
are
to
talking about.
see. You'll have to see. We did a bookshelf drawings, like guess the drawings. They're a community member who has drawn just like MS Paint
pristine
masterpieces.
artist, a pristine
Yeah.
master at making art. That's
And
what
you'll have
okay.
to check in the VODs on the channel. There's a Guess the Drawings game show that several players competed in a few hours ago, and I think you'll get a real kick out of that.
That's dope. I love that.
But yeah, check it out. I think I already have it highlighted as a VOD if you want to go and click on that sometime soon. But
Yeah.
everybody else out there, if you'll hang tight for just a few minutes, we are wrangling up the defect players as we speak, and we're going to get that one on that show on the road. Thank you so much to NaveGreed, Opum, XecnaR, and TheCrimsonBlur for all four of you coming out to do this and spending all this time with us and showing all your love and support to our community and being members of the Spire community that everybody can look up to the way that we all do. We really appreciate you coming to do this, and we can't thank you enough. So, with that, I would like to bid you adieu and get this defect seed set up and get out those players going.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good luck,
Much love,
players.
guys. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
Hey.